Donald Trump thundered a chilling declaration. Greenland is ours. Warning that any obstacle in America's path would face consequences, he made it clear the punishment wouldn't necessarily be military, but it would be crushing. With icy precision, Trump reached for his most trusted weapon of pressure: economic warfare. Tariffs, sanctions, curbs. As the Arctic heats up, Trump is threatening tariffs against those who refuse to back his Greenland bid, placing America's own allies and trading partners squarely in the crosshairs.
I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security.
Trump's tariff threat came as he participated in the Great Historic Investment in Rural Health Roundtable on January 16th. He doubled down on his campaign to bring the vast, mineral-rich Arctic island under U.S. control, a goal he has pursued since his first term and renewed with vigor since returning to office last year.
So Europe and other nations all over the world were getting drugs from the same plant, same factory, same everything, same location, everything, same company, for a tiny fraction of what we're paying. So our people were paying a tremendous amount. So the gentleman from Eli Lilly and others, we had a meeting, and they all finally put up their hands. You got us. We give up. And they were great from that time. But we had a problem. The other nations weren't going for it. France turned it down. Germany turned it down. UK turned it down. European Union turned it down, the whole group. And they said, there's nothing you can do about it, sir. I said, yes, there is. No, there isn't. You'll never be able to get them up. Or never. I mean, the whole industry is going to be torn apart. I said, we'll get them up easily. Are you crazy? Of course we'll get them up. That's what I do for a living. I get people up. So I started with President Macron of France, and a very nice person. I like him a lot. I hope he's listening, because he doesn't believe that, but I do. He's a nice man. And I said, Emmanuel. Yes, Donald, thank you so much for calling. Oh, I said, you're not going to like this call. You're going to have to get your drug prices up. No, I will not do that. I said, Emmanuel, we're paying 13 times more than, 13 times, not 13%, 13 times more than you are for this pill. I rattled off some numbers that are crazy. You know the numbers I'm talking about, Oz. Oz would give me some numbers. I'd say, this is crazy. We're paying 10 times, 12 times, 13 times. No, I will not do that. I said, look, you've got to do it. 100% you're going to do it. No, Donald, I told you I will not do that. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. If you don't do it, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on all goods, wine, champagnes, and everything else coming into the United States of America. He said, Donald, I would love to do this for you. It would be a great honor to do it. And that's where it began. And I went through country after country. Susie was responsible for getting every one of those leaders on the thing. Susie, by the way, stand up, Susie. She is doing such a good job. She's the first female chief of staff. And she might be the best chief of staff, too. But she's doing a great job. Thank you, Susie. So Susie got him on. And I just went one after another. I called Germany. No, we will not do that. I said, no, we're going to put a 25% tariff, which is, by the way, about 7 times more than they would have to pay by raising their drug. Like 7 times. This wasn't like a little bit more. 7 times more. And I may do that for Greenland, too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security. So I may do that.
Then comes another shock. Trump hints at leaving NATO if there is no deal on Greenland.
Pull out of NATO if it doesn't help you acquire Greenland. If it doesn't legalize.
Well, we're going to see. NATO has been dealing with us on Greenland. We need Greenland for national security very badly. If we don't have it, we have a big hole in national security, especially when it comes to what we're doing in terms of the Golden Dome and all of the other things. We have a lot of investments in military. We have got the strongest military in the world, and it's only getting stronger. And you saw that with Venezuela. You saw that with the attack on Iran, with the knocking out their nuclear capability potentially. So Yeah, we're talking to NATO.
Behind Trump's Greenland push is the fear of Russia and China. Trump said U.S. security is at risk as Russia and China cement influence in the Arctic, an allegation dismissed by both Moscow and Beijing. After the U.S. military operation to capture the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, Trump has revived his ambition to claim the semi-autonomous Danish territory. The U.S. has not ruled out military takeover either, with the White House saying the president and his team are discussing a range of options to pursue this important foreign policy goal. And of course, utilizing the U.S. military is always an option at the commander-in-chief's disposal. Meanwhile, amid invasion fear, U.S., Denmark, and Greenland officials met in the White House, but the meeting ended without a diplomatic breakthrough. A U.S. delegation led by Senator Chris Coons met with Danish Defense Minister Troels Lund Poulsen and Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen on Friday for talks in Copenhagen. The bipartisan congressional delegation arrived in Denmark to lower tensions between the United States, Denmark, and Greenland. As Trump pushes to acquire the island, French and other NATO military personnel have been more visible in Greenland to reassure its security. But the number of troops deployed sparked global concern that NATO might cede strategic ground to Washington's pressure.
The European Union's NATO allies seem to have surrendered before US President Donald Trump over the Greenland takeover move. According to Russian news agency RIA Novosti, EU NATO members are preparing to send just over 30 troops to Greenland for its defense at Copenhagen's request. 7 European countries in the bloc have already announced their intention to send troops, and a total of 34 soldiers are expected to arrive in Greenland soon. Imagine 34 troops to defend Greenland from Trump's takeover. The figure looks more like a joke, and Trump's dream to make Greenland 51st state of the United States now looks inevitable. On Wednesday, the Danish armed forces announced that they would strengthen their military presence in the area in close cooperation with NATO allies and intensify training activities on the island. The largest groups are being sent by decision of Paris and Berlin. French media reported the arrival of a 15-person group. French President Emmanuel Macron stated that ground, sea and air assets will arrive in Greenland in the coming days to reinforce this contingent.
France and the Europeans must continue. In any place where their interests are threatened, to maintain a presence without escalation, but unyielding on the respect for territorial sovereignty. I was referring to Ukraine.
In Greenland, an autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark,
It is the Europeans who have a particular responsibility, because this territory belongs to the European Union, and because this territory is also that of one of our important NATO allies. France has made the decision to join the exercise that was planned and initiated by Denmark in a fully sovereign and independent manner within the framework of Arctic endurance. Our first team of French military personnel is already on the ground. It will be reinforced in the coming days by land, air, and naval assets. And I would like to thank the scheme for having promptly, through its Danish partner, organized everything and been able to respond to the very concrete demands that were made. This is the role that France must fulfill, to be prepared and available when facing the assessment of a threat, to know how to adapt effectively, and to stand firmly alongside a sovereign state to help protect its own territory.
Germany has sent 13 military personnel to Denmark, who along with representatives of other countries will travel to Greenland. The remaining NATO countries that have joined the initiative are sending relatively modest numbers of troops. The Norwegian and Finnish defense ministries intend to send 2 officers each, while the United Kingdom and the Netherlands intend to send 1 officer each. Sweden Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson announced on Wednesday that officers had already arrived on the island at Denmark's request but did not specify their number. However, not all European countries are ready to participate in the support that could anger Donald Trump. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has already refused to send troops to the Danish island.
Today, this is perhaps not the appropriate place or the moment for a detailed analysis of geopolitical and military consequences of a potential armed intervention by the United States in Greenland. This would be, in a political sense anyway, and from our perspective, a disaster. Does this signify a conflict, or is it an attempt at the annexation of territory? A country that is a member of NATO, attacked by another country that is a member of NATO, and what's more, it's the United States, well, that would be the end of the world as we know it, which for decades has guaranteed our security, not only for us. It also guaranteed this global order based on NATO solidarity, which restrained throughout the world, and especially in Europe, in North America, it held back evil forces related either to communism or to terrorism or with other kinds of forms. International aggression and attempts to undermine international order. Also, I don't want to anticipate that. I mean, I don't want to speculate if that's possible. You are aware of my critical attitude regarding many decisions and many events that occur on the other side of the Atlantic. I have never concealed this, and I can only reiterate what I have known from the very beginning. That unfortunately no scenario can be ruled out. Considering the previous actions of President Trump's administration, every scenario is possible. That repeatedly, both in our private one-on-one conversations and during G7, G20 meetings, when I had the chance to co-chair them as the president of the European Council, and I discussed this many times with the then President Trump at Kishil, I'm referring to his first term, he often made it clear that unpredictability, surprising people, especially his allies, that is a method to which he is committed. So certainly nothing whatsoever can be excluded. Does Europe have any kind of plan? For such situations, ladies and gentlemen, there are no plans. I will do everything in my power to ensure that Europe as a whole remains united, because our Polish security directly depends on the strength of the European Union and the solidarity of European NATO members. I will also do everything in my power. I am fully aware of its limitations to ensure that the transatlantic relations, which have been the very foundation of our civilization. So this is the good, what we call the West, with a capital W. So Europe and the United States and Canada together. The truth is, if this situation was ever going to become unstable, it's already shaking and faltering right now. But if it were to be completely lost and squandered, so we will have to get ourselves ready to build a security architecture with those who remain loyal to the project of the West as a community. I don't want to dream about it yet.